Look around. Can you find someone who looks exactly like you? Chances are, probably not. Unless you have the luck of having a twin, like this famous pair from Hogwarts. What is it then that makes all 7 billion people on Earth all unique and different? The answer is the topic that I am going to talk about today, genetics. While it seems plainly obvious today that we clearly receive half our DNA from our dads and the other half from our moms, it definitely puzzled a lot of scientists in the past, including Gregor Mendel, the genius who actually figured out the set of laws that we now refer to as the Mendelian inheritance. How did he do this? By growing pea plants. By growing generations of pea plants, he figured out the rule of dominant and recessive traits, which I will get to later. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes, which make up our entire genome consisting of thousands of genes. Now here are two terms you might learn in class. The locus is the location of a gene on a chromosome, and an allele means a form of a gene. For example, 3 alleles determine our blood type, and you would inherit 1 allele from each of your parents to form a pair. Amazingly, these alleles are usually only specified by a few bases in difference. To put this in perspective, humans have 3 billion base pairs, so the difference is literally like a grain of sand on the beach. So, you might think that with such a big genome in each one of us, no wonder we're all so different. However, that is not exactly the case as well. Most of our DNA is the same. That's right, you and I share the majority of our DNA. And the small amount that provides our unique traits are called single nucleotide polymorphisms, affectionately named SNPs. The other leftover DNA is not as affectionately named junk DNA. However, they really are important as they are responsible for gene expression. They code for promoter and repressor proteins that stop or allow a particular gene from being expressed. So, going back to inheritance, you might be wondering why some people get one allele and others get another. Again, this all depends on your parents. Let's take a look at our blood type. Our blood type consists of 3 alleles, as I have said earlier. There's type A allele, type B allele, and type O allele. Let's say the mother has type B blood, made up of O and B alleles, and the father has type AB blood, made up of, you guessed it, A and B alleles. The A and B alleles have a codominant relationship, a relationship where 2 alleles can be expressed at the same time. The 2 dominant alleles are A and B, which are both expressed in type AB blood, and O allele is the recessive, the poor allele that is always overshadowed by A and B. Punnett squares help scientists determine simple inheritance patterns. Believe it or not, this could actually help us determine what blood type this couple's baby might have. First, let's put the parents' alleles in the individual spots as I have done here. I have put the mother's genotype on the left and the father's on the top. Definition: genotype describes what alleles an organism's gene is made up of. Going back to the Punnett square, now you just have to drag each of the 4 alleles into the boxes in its row or column to know the baby's possible genotypes. Here, we can see that the baby could have type AB, B, or A blood. The O allele is twice overshadowed by the dominant A allele or B allele. Now that you know a little bit about genetics and inheritance, you might be wondering, why is this important? Well, this is actually really important if you consider its uses in forensic science. If you are like me, you love reading mystery novels and anything that involves solving crime. Did you ever wonder what they actually did with that piece of hair or DNA that was found at the crime scene? Well, they take the DNA and run it through a series of experiments, such as gel electrophoresis or PCRs, in order to match the DNA to the criminal and bring justice to the case. I hope you have learned lots through this video, and that this has inspired you to learn more about the interesting world of genetics.